Hello everyone, my name is Paige and this is The Page Turner. So it's obviously been a while since I filmed a video. The last one that I posted was in January and it was a wrap-up in TBR. And things just kind of got a little crazy after that. Like I was working and then there was the whole, obviously, Corona thing that's going on. So I wasn't motivated to read a lot and I just wasn't really interested in reading. I don't know why, I just kind of went in this like huge slump. I was watching a lot of TV and stuff, which is actually something I want to talk about. So I want this video to just be me kind of talking about things that I've really enjoyed in the past couple months, because I feel like there's been so much negativity going on in the world that I just want to talk about things that I really like. So I'm going to be talking about some books that I've read recently that I've really loved, and some shows that I've been watching that I've really loved. And then hopefully after this, I do have a couple video ideas that I want to do and kind of get more of a regular filming schedule. I just want to make content that I feel good about and that I don't feel obligated to make. So hopefully this is kind of the start of something like new for this channel. I don't know, everyone always says that and then I feel like I end up doing the same exact thing over and over. But if there's anything specifically that you want me to talk about or a video you want me to make, please let me know, because I love hearing ideas. Obviously I can't guarantee that I would do every single thing that is suggested, but like I said, I do have some ideas of things that I want to do coming up. Very specifically, there's a Star Wars video that I want to do, talking about like some of the best and worst books that I've read that are related to Star Wars, because I think I've read like 30 or 40 Star Wars books this year, which is a crazy amount, but we'll go into that in a little bit. So let's get started with the books that I've read in the past couple months that I've really enjoyed. So if you follow me on Tumblr, or basically have talked to me at all within the past like 3 months, I've been really obsessed with the Clone Wars TV show that's on Disney Plus. I am super late to this because I had actually heard about the movie when I was in middle school and was like, why would someone watch a cartoon? Like, that's so stupid. I watched the show and the show is now over, which is very sad. I stayed up till midnight like every Thursday to watch the newest episode that was coming out, which was super fun, and now I'm like, oh, I have nothing to look forward to on Thursday nights. Obviously I love the show a lot, like a lot. It's probably one of my favorite pieces of the Star Wars universe. I'll probably go into more of this when I do like my specific Star Wars video that I want to do, but I think for me what's great about Star Wars is like everyone has like this little piece of it that they really love. Like there are people who love the prequels, the original trilogy, the sequels, the Legends universe with all the books and everything. So for me it's really like Clone Wars, and I really like the characters and stuff. So while I was watching Clone Wars, I then picked up Ahsoka by E.K. Johnston. I was really early in the series when I started reading this. I think I was only in like the second or third season, but I was already like so in love with Ahsoka's character that I was like, oh, I really want to know more about her. So when I read this, I didn't enjoy it as much as I did when I reread it this second time, but I did enjoy it quite a lot because I think the story overall is just kind of fun and it's like a really cool adventure. It obviously follows the events after the Siege of Mandalore, which is the last arc of season 7 of the Clone Wars. So there's a lot of spoilers in here for that, somewhat, because some of the stuff doesn't exactly follow. I've heard mixed things about whether or not this is actually like Star Wars canon or not. I think the show tried to get some of the stuff from here into there that like makes it connect. There's obviously some things that don't match up, but for me, with Star Wars, I'm like, I don't really care if everything matches up exactly right, because let's face it, even in the original trilogy, not everything matches up exactly where it should. I'm under the belief that like George Lucas really had no idea what he was doing. But anyway, again, I'm going to talk about that more in my Star Wars video, but I really enjoyed this the second time around. I really enjoy Ahsoka's character. I think she's really fun and cool, and I'm very sad that I did not get Ahsoka ears on May the 4th, but they were also $78, so yeah. Anyway, if you really enjoy Clone Wars and Ahsoka and everything, you should definitely read this. It's really quick to get through. I actually listened to the audiobook, which is narrated by Ashley Eckstein, who does the voice for Ahsoka in the Clone Wars TV show, so that was really cool. And I think it adds a little bit of something to the story too, because then you really feel like you're getting it from Ahsoka herself. So I definitely recommend this, and even if you're not like really familiar with the Clone Wars or anything like that, this is also just like a really fun Star Wars book. So another Star Wars book that I had picked up actually from the library before the libraries had closed, and then I loved it so much that I bought myself a copy because it was like $6 or something, is Star Wars Force Collector. This is by Kevin Shinick. This is one of those books that's the Journey to series, like the Disney canon novels. So this one's Journey to Rise of Skywalker. I love these books. I really like that they kind of connect all the movies together, and really make me enjoy the movies a lot more than if I hadn't read them, because, you know, I've been reading so many of these books and then I go back and watch the sequels and I'm like, oh my god, I know who that character is. I understand like what's going on, which is actually kind of a shame that you can't understand some of that stuff that's going on between the movies without reading the book. But I mean, it's obviously still an enjoyable experience to just watch the movie. But these books are really good too, and this one is really interesting because it follows a character, Car, and his adventure like around the galaxy trying to find objects that have like force sensitivity to them, because he's force sensitive, so if he touches certain objects then he can feel like what went on in the past. So there's a lot of stuff that he picks up that was around the time of like the Empire, and then even before that in the Clone Wars era, so there was like a lot of callbacks that I really enjoyed, which I feel like for me in Rise of Skywalker there was a lot of callbacks that I really enjoyed, so I kind of like that aspect of Star Wars that mentions stuff that's happened before and like makes sense for the present and like really furthers the story. So I really enjoyed this one. This is the last Star Wars one I'm going to talk about. This one is Star Wars Queen's Shadow. This is by E.K. Johnston as well. I think she does a really great job with the Star Wars characters that she writes about. So this one's about Padme. And why I really enjoyed this was because it focuses specifically on Padme and not Padme with Anakin, because I find Anakin actually to be like a pretty annoying character. I mean, he's like this huge man-child. But this really is about Padme and her handmaidens, which I really enjoyed. This follows like when Padme was coming out of being a queen on Naboo and then coming into her role as a senator. She really has a lot of independence as a senator and really does a lot of good for like the galaxy and everything and the Senate itself. So it was really interesting and enjoyable to read about her from kind of that perspective, because I feel like we don't see that a lot. And then again, like not seeing her in a light that doesn't have Anakin, because she is like this really strong and interesting character, but I feel like she gets overshadowed by her husband, and it's just kind of annoying actually. So I really enjoyed this, and there's going to be a sequel coming out in June, which I'm very excited to read. I've already pre-ordered it, so I can't wait. And I also really love this cover too, and the next cover is really awesome. I don't know, Star Wars does such good jobs with their covers. I don't know. I love it. So because I was so interested in like Star Wars and I was reading all these books, Claudia Gray had written 2 or 3 that I'd read this year and I really enjoyed them. So I decided to finally pick up Defy the Stars, which is obviously by Claudia Gray. So I've had an arc of this since 2017, so it's been 3 years and I still haven't gotten around to reading it. I listened to the audiobook and oh my gosh, I really loved it. I love like sci-fi, fantasy. I know those are like 2 completely different categories, but you know, I really loved it, and I loved the whole idea of like a human and an AI teaming up together, and then it's like enemies to lovers, and I don't know, there's just a lot of really great stuff going on in this, and there's so many awesome characters, so many really cool like worlds, and like the entire plot I think is just really interesting. I'm like a quarter of the way through Defy the Worlds, which has also been on my bookshelf forever. I don't know why I've been dragging my feet on this. I think I might have to reread this series. And then to really help me get out of my reading slump, because it was like really bad, like I didn't read anything for like weeks at a time, I reread Faker by Sarah Smith. I just needed a light romance novel that I knew I was gonna love, and this was already on my shelf, so I was like, I'm gonna pick that up again because I remember really loving it. And I think I even loved it more like the second time around because I already knew kind of what was gonna happen, but of course I had like forgotten like the little things in between, and it was so good. I really love this story. And she has another book coming out I think this summer. It's like so easy to fly through this story. I think literally I finished this probably in 1 day. It's contemporary romance, and it's part of that like Berkeley Romance Publishing. So if you're interested in like a new adult / adult contemporary romance, definitely pick this one up. This next book was one again that I was like, okay, I'm kind of in a slump. I've had this on my shelf forever because I got it from the publisher. The audiobook was ready for me at the library. And so I read Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen. I really loved this and I flew through it. I've been doing a lot of cross-stitching lately, which I know, I'm like a grandma. But I love it, and so while I'm doing it, I really like listening to audiobooks. So it's really nice to like listen to audiobooks, but I also listen to music and stuff. So I listened to this while I was working on one of my cross stitches, and I flew through this so quickly, and I really enjoyed the story, and it was really fun. I don't know what it was about it that was so fun to me, but I think it was like the idea of like, you know, this coming of age story, and this girl really finds herself, her finding her identity and herself in this foreign country was just like a really fun read, but also like a really important story. So if you're looking for like a teen contemporary romance, YA, whatever, you know, coming of age story, I definitely recommend this. So that's some of the best books I've read in the past couple months, just ones that have like really stood out to me and that I've really enjoyed. So as I mentioned, I kind of want to talk about some like TV shows and and stuff that I've been watching too, because I feel like everyone's been streaming something lately. Obviously, I mentioned this earlier, but like the TV show that I cannot stop talking about lately is Clone Wars, and it is just so good, you guys. Like, if you're a big fan of Star Wars, I highly recommend this. I know it's 7 seasons, and they're all pretty much like 23 to episodes, and I know that the first season is a little tough to get through, but it's so good. Like, the last season, I think they did such a good job with it, and the animation has really improved. Like, it looked so beautiful, and the story itself is so heartbreaking, and I like can't stop listening to the music from the show and like rewatching it and stuff, and it just, I don't know, it's like really a great story, and it's just fun. Like, it's fun at first. The best way I've explained this to other people, mostly in my family who's like so sick of hearing about it, I started watching it as a joke because I was like watching all this Lego Star Wars stuff, and I was like, oh, Clone Wars, like, this is gonna be exactly the same thing. No, I was totally wrong, and going into it as a joke was like not really paying attention a lot to the characters and stuff, and then I slowly started realizing like, oh my god, I actually care about these people. And the entire thing's on Disney Plus. I highly recommend getting Disney Plus because there's just so much good stuff on there, and I feel like I'm totally getting my money's worth out of it. I've been watching that show a lot and now rewatching it because I remember like certain characters or story arcs that I want to go back to, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, now I understand it like a little bit better or enjoy it a little bit more. So, but anyway, if you're a Clone Wars fan, definitely let me know because I'm trying to find more people that like really like it. And I've been talking to quite a few people on Instagram about it, and they're just really awesome, and I really like the community. So if you're a fan and you're like totally wrecked from that last season, definitely let me know. So another show that everyone has been obviously talking about, and I actually really enjoyed too, was Tiger King. I mean, come on, how have you not watched Tiger King by now? But if you haven't, you should totally watch it because it's kind of this crazy wild ride. My boyfriend and I were watching it together on that Netflix party thing where you can both like share a screen, kind of, even if you're like, you know, miles apart. And it was funny because he kept saying like, oh my god, like this is so crazy or whatever, and I'm like, boy, this is only the first episode. Like, you need to wait until we get to like episode 2 or 3, and even shit will get like crazier. If you're looking for something obviously that everyone's been talking about and you think like, oh, I don't want to watch that because it's overhyped. It's not. It's really that good, and it's that crazy. And just when you think like, oh, actually this is the good guy or this is the good guy, nope, like everyone's really bad, and I don't know, it's just really fun though. Another show that I watched that's also on Netflix was Broadchurch. This was actually recommended to me back when I was living in England by one of my friends, and at the time I was like, I don't want to watch any like British detective stuff, but me and my parents are obsessed with that stuff now, so we've been trying to make our way through like as many British detective-y shows that we can that's streaming here in the States, because some stuff is kind of hard to find. Broadchurch is amazing though, has David Tennant, Olivia Colman, so it has like this huge cast of characters of like really big stars. It's 3 seasons, it's really intense. I mean, not really intense, but it's intense, and it's really interesting and surprisingly funny at times. So if you really enjoy like murder mystery stuff, I definitely recommend that. Another one that I also just finished recently was Waco, which was very intense and very good. It's it's based on the true story of the like Waco shootout that happened, I think, in the 80s or like early 90s. Really good, really amazing. I feel like you get to the end of each episode and you're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? Like what is going on? So if you're also interested in like based on a true story stuff, which I know a lot of people are, because a lot of people like listen to like true crime stuff, you should definitely watch that because it's really, really good. It also has Michael Shannon in it, and a lot of people really like him, and he also executive produced it, so yeah, it's really great. Another one that's really short, actually, it's only 4 episodes, but that I also really enjoyed was How to Fix a Drug Scandal. Also a true crime thing, very interesting, very crazy, because as you're watching it, you're like, oh my god, how did these people get away with this stuff? My sister actually recommended it to me, and then me and my parents all watched it together, and it was just really good. This happened in like the early 2000s, but it kind of goes up to 2015, so it's a little more recent than I feel like some of this other true crime stuff that you kind of see around on Netflix and everything, but also a really, really amazing show, and I think it's really well done. So that's kind of an idea of things that I've been reading and watching lately and have really enjoyed. If there's anything that you've read or watched recently and also you really enjoy, definitely leave me a comment down below, because I'm always looking for new stuff to, you know, new media to consume, basically. Also, I hope you all have been doing well. In the past 2 months, I've made over 250 masks, so I was pretty busy, and my mom was helping me with it, which was, I needed the help. Yeah, I hope you're all staying safe and staying inside and wearing a mask and washing your hands and, you know, all that good stuff. And I'm going to start making more videos soon, like I said, so I have a Star Wars one in the works that I really want to get to, because I just am like full of Star Wars enthusiasm right now. But there's also like a haul that I need to do because I've gotten some books from publishers in the past 3 months that I need to talk about. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great time stuck at home and that you're all staying safe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!